in studio with me for the first time here at the Monster Energy SuperGP Champions Trophy, SuperM Race 1. 10 laps of action coming your way. The lights go out and we head down towards turn number 1. Please get the feedback out of my ears. I've got plenty of feedback coming through my ears.
All right, as we head into turn 1, Greg, thanks so much for welcoming me here at the race. So,
this is the start. Yeah, we're into SuperM and into the back straight for the first time. Looks like it's a great start there from Teddy Brook. He, of course, came all the way from Pakisa. On his tail is Justin Gillinson, and our pole man, Carl Robinson, with an absolute nightmare. Sitting so far down, he's in about 6th place as they go down into the bottom and into Vox Telecom. A big left-hand sweeper there, and really nothing in between the first two riders. You can see Darian Kaiser also not getting a great start. I expected a lot more from him. That 600 should have got off the line pretty rapidly, but there he is, coming out of Vox Telecom now into the dog bone for the very first time. And you can see just how hard he's having to work in amongst those 1,000 cc's. Really, really terrible start for the pole and second place man. But Teddy Brook, what a start from him. He was down in 3rd place on the front row and just dropped the bomb and disappeared at the front end. He's been closed down by Gillison, and on his tail is the 48 there of Colin Lehman. Guys, please can we get the feedback out of my ears? I'm getting radio comms, I'm getting all sorts of other things in my ears. I just need young, that's all I need. So as they head down into, and I've got no commentary now. No commentary coming through my ears.
All right, as we head into which channel we're turning in, we cannot hear. All right,
there we go.
Back in action. Greg, as you mentioned earlier on, some of these guys were racing out in Pakisa and looking out today. Do you think they'll be able to, they qualified early this morning, but coming out this morning, they have to really just get into the mix of things without actually having to set up the bike, ideally, for here at Redstar?
Well, you see, the thing is, Googs, a lot of these guys have had a chance to come to Redstar on occasion. They probably had a bit of practice sessions at some of the regionals earlier on in the season. But more importantly is the fact that at the front end of this field is a rider who wasn't here for any of the practice sessions yesterday. Teddy Brook, yes, he spends a lot of time at Redstar Raceway and puts in some effort not only for himself but also for Anthony Shelley, who we'll see in action a bit later on. But Brook leads out Gillinson, they're in 2nd place, and Colin Lehman in 3rd. 79 is, of course, our lady rider on the 1,000 cc there, Janine Davies. And of course, she's now up there and keeping the pole man out. He has got no way around and cannot find any position to get past now. Watch down the straightaway here. Carl Robinson going to have a look and see if he can get past that BMW. The 1000R on. Look at the power differential there. The BMW seems to have a little bit of an edge now over Carl Robinson's Kawasaki, but on the brakes, Robinson's there, and just behind them, that looks like it's going to be none other than Mr. Redstar himself, Jacques van Veengaard, looking to push and get into this battle.
No, certainly we saw Jacques enjoying his practice runs yesterday, and it seems as if he's got it hooked up, although further down on the field, but I'm sure he'll be making his way further on into the race. But certainly brilliant conditions here at Redstar, and it's good to see that the weather has also come to play, as the wind has died down from yesterday's practice sessions where the guys got battered by the wind. But today it's good conditions, and it's all about racing, and we should be seeing the guys battling out for honors right here in Redstar.
So heading into the top end now, you can see just how difficult things are going to be getting here. It's race 1, and it's the action of plenty so far. Carl Robinson, our pole man, having to battle through the field, really getting to grips with things early on, and he's now got past Janine Mitchell as they go through the short straight out of the dog bone, heading into the big twisties at the top end of the circuit, heading towards him, and you can see the leader right now is Teddy Brook. Teddy Brook under pressure from Gillinson. Justin Gillinson going around the outside, trying to go for around the outside there. It's not an easy thing to do, but watch him cut back. Late Apex coming out there. Watch the drive now, heading through the second part of that S-bend. And now Teddy Brook goes defensive, shuts the door, doesn't give Justin Gillinson anything there. And hopefully we'll be able to see whether or not he's able to find a way through. But right now, it doesn't look like he's got any answer to Teddy Brook right now. And hopefully he's going to be doing anything.
Certainly, as you can see, he's been lining up and just looking at his braking marks and seeing as what kind of line he does take into the corner. But I'm sure in the next lap or two, he should be coming through as we head onto the front straight here at Redstar.
So they come down and complete another lap now. Really nothing in it. So you can see 2 laps down, Teddy Brook from Gillinson. And the gap between them is only 0.3 of a second. There's about a 1.5 second gap now to 3rd place, which of course is Carl Robinson. He was fastest this morning by 0.6 of a second. And he's now, that's Janine. Janine Mitchell is down. Janine Mitchell is down. And hopefully we can get our onboard camera guys down there and our pit lane cameras to go and find out exactly what went wrong. But Janine going down there in a big way, trying to close in on Carl Robinson.
No, it's a pity that she went down. After all, she had a really brilliant run out to Pakisa in round 1. And it's a pity that today it didn't work out quite ideally, but I'm sure she should be back in race 2 to be able to give in some action and give the boys a bit of a run for their money.
Well, remember, Gooks, you actually got onto the podium in both races at Pakisa at the first round, so the Free State GP saw the lady rider for the very first time in South Africa on 1000cc on a podium. This time, unfortunately, she gone pretty much 0 to 0 there. That's kind of what happens sometimes, as you know. You get it all right one weekend, the next weekend it can go completely wrong.
Greg,
because that's exactly what's happened now, what you need. But check out Carl Robinson
on
the inside of Justin Gillinson as they go down. Into that very tight effort. Gillinson's on the inside, side by side. 3 Kawasaki's fighting out for honours here. And it's Teddy Brook who is leading out at the moment. The oldest of the 3, and he's keeping the 2 younger riders very much at bay.
Well, it just shows that experience does count in a big time in terms of obviously experience on the track. As we see the man 93 leading the process, but under pressure, and of course he just has to look over his shoulder and just see that the 2 riders behind him are on their way to come through and take over his spot.
Well, as you see, Carl Robinson on the inside. Robinson on the inside now. Poleman moves up to 2nd. So he dropped down to 7th place off the start and now heads into the twisty bits coming towards the second half of the circuit. And of course, this is where things can change up. Robinson is very quick through here, but so is Teddy Brook. Gillinson not quite able to run with the same kind of pace, running very wide, cutting the apex late as they go through the final turn and across the line. They're going to completing lap number 3 now. It's Teddy Brook under pressure. Big time here from Carl Robinson. Robinson looking for a way through.
I think, Greg, it's all about time, really. Robinson is looking really good, and Brooks is under pressure. And as to whether he'll be able to hold out for the next 7 laps or so, it's going to be quite interesting to see. But I think, as you see, the 2 guys at the back just hounding him and pushing him all the way down as they go down to the back straight to the bottom side.
Lovely little battle here. In fact, it's 4 Kawasaki's at the front end. Googs, ZX10s 1, 2, 3, and 4, because there comes the 4th place man there, Colin Lehman. Colin Lehman out just behind him, of course, is Jacques van Veenkart. And here's another nice little dice. Check this out. Johan Otto fighting with Conrad Verloon. Verloon on the inside there on the BMW has a look as Otto gets beaten up on his KTM RC8. And along with them, of course, is Darian Kaiser and Evert Stoffbag. Evert Stoffbag, an instructor at the circuit, so he certainly has got a lot of time in the saddle around this one, as has Johan Otto. The 2 of them are sharing duties as instructors around. But check that out.
Look at that maneuver on the outside.
600 around the outside. Darian Kaiser, super stuff from him.
And
he's going to go on the inside now. Brilliant stuff.
Fantastic overtaking maneuver. I think, as you said, being an instructor at this circuit certainly has helped him in terms of getting the skills to be able to pull off such a maneuver. Just over 2 corners, overtaking 2 riders. It's amazing.
Yeah, the 2 instructors actually being shown the way around the circuit by one of the youngsters there. That 600 went round those 2 instructors like they were looking for parking. And maybe they were. It's KTM and BMW, though. The 2 instructors here, Evert Stoffberg and, of course, Johan Otto and Darian Kaiser. Wow, around the outside of one, up the inside of the other, and now goes chasing down to see if he can find a way to close in on Jacques van Veenkart. And he hasn't gone too far up the road. I tell you something, it's still a bit of a battle up for grabs, because he's got to get past, first and foremost, that number 43 BM. And, of course, that is none other than Conrad Verloon. He also hasn't had any practice here, arrived this morning, qualified, and he's now out there fighting for honours.
Such is the dedication of such of these men, as well as their machines, as they're battling for honours here at Redstar in the SuperM race here at the SuperGP Championships trophy. Round 2 of this year's championship. As we see the boys in front, how are they doing at the moment, Greg?
Yeah, this is going back to them now. We've got a new leader. New leader, Carl Robinson, has got past on Teddy Brook, so he takes the lead now as they go down the N1 straight away. That N1 straight on these Super M bikes. Remember, they don't have all the modifications that our Super GP guys might have. And of course, they're not running stock standard bikes. Some of them are allowed to do modifications. Super Twins and Super Masters. The Masters are at the front end of the battle here. But looking at the top speeds yesterday on some of the bikes and some of the GPSs, on the braking marker, which is between the 150 and 100 meter marker on a 1,000. And with the wind that was there yesterday, we had massive wind, as you know, Googs.
Yeah, Greg, I mean, the wind must have played a major factor, but today, obviously, a little bit more, I'd say, not as windy as it was yesterday. We saw some drama on the track where the guys had to slipstream each other, trying to assist each other to actually get quicker lap times. But at least today, we're having a beautiful day out here in Redstar, and less wind. Less
wind for sure, which is going to help them out, of course, on that back straightaway. But of course, with the wind yesterday, which I wanted to bring in, is the fact that they can actually run deeper into the corner, because it acts as a bit of a brake head. So doing about 285 kilometers an hour before you hit the brakes, and then pitch it into a turn that goes left and drops away from you.
And drops away as well. Talk about elements that you have to gettle through in order to get into the next corner. But I say, these guys and their machines, I don't know, as a competitor, but on 4 wheels, I'll say much respect to the boys on 2 wheels, because I must say, they just like airbags, man. You fall on that thing, it's painful. But needless to say, the action is aplenty right here at Redstar, and we're seeing some good battles in the front as well, mid-pack. So it's good to see that the boys are out there, despite having limited practice time yesterday, and some of them actually arriving this morning. and doing their duty, setting up their bikes and getting it set up for the race. And it seems as if we're having good battles throughout, Greg.
Well, this is exactly the case right here. These two riders arriving this morning, going out and qualifying and practicing at the same time. And of course, after qualifying, Justin Gillinson was down in 5th place behind Janine. And of course, Teddy Brooke was in 3rd place, just ahead of Janine. So now they're sitting 2nd and 3rd place on the road. They don't seem to have an answer to Carl Robinson's pace, but of course this little battle is going to probably rage for the next 5 laps. We're at the halfway stage. We've got 5 to go as they go down the N1 straight away. Now that's an awesome, look at that. Brilliant shot there, heading down that N1. Looks like you're actually going to head straight into Benoni. But of course, you hit the brakes here at 285 kilometers an hour. Look how late they're braking. There is still a bit of wind there. It's between the 150 marker that they're actually hitting the brakes there. Watch Colin Lehman now. He comes, okay, he's a little bit earlier on the brakes as you know he's got a bit of a gap. Then you got Jacques van Wijngaard, same spot there, just at the 150 marker. Check the 600 though. At the 50-meter marker, that's where he's able to brake. He can run so much more corner speed, and Darian is carrying that corner speed and slowly but surely catching onto the back end of the 43 of Conrad Fillion. So 52, Jacques van Wijngaard, that is Mr. Redstar. This is the man who built this entire facility, and guess what? He's out on track and having a jaw as well. What a way to go.
It's fantastic to see that he brought out this wonderful facility here for us to be able to play on. And it seems like many riders are actually enjoying this facility. It offers quite a lot of challenges in terms of turns and twists, and of course obviously the speed is what everyone wants to experience right here on their machines.
Googs, I can tell you something, this track is absolutely amazing to ride. I've only ridden it the other way around on a super bike. I've ridden it on a supermoto this way, but of course we do the short circuit, the short option where you turn left at turn 1 as opposed to carrying through the chicane, the Pirelli chicane. And of course then you head on to the dirty section, and you'll actually get to see the dirt jumps just on the right hand side of the one shot. It's oh man, it's so much fun on the circuit. And of course this way around in
anti-clockwise this time round, hey?
It's incredible. And when I got to ride yesterday with Anthony Shelley, I went out on a scooter with him just to show me the lines, where the braking markers are, what the speeds are like on these bikes, even on a scooter. But I wanted to put my knee down.
Put the knee down as well as the elbow just to say, hey.
Oh, Jacques runs wide. Oh, that's not good. Fillion closes in on Jacques van Wijngaard as they come out of that back straightaway, or the mid straightaway. And here are the leaders coming across the line. Check on the crowd on the side, shouting for Teddy Brooke.
Pinned down on that.
And Gillinson also getting a bit of heads up there. Remember, Gillinson pitting with Ronald Slammert from Cape Town, all assisted by the Portable Shade Kawasaki team. So he's not a factory rider in terms of fitting in with Brad's actual team, but he's being assisted by Brad's team, and you can see it's working.
And I
comes side by side, and Slipstream sitting here, not quite close enough to Teddy Brooke to use that Slipstream.
Yeah, and I understand it's his first time out here, Greg, or is that his second?
This time out, Gillinson's been around this circuit. The first 3 riders all having a chance to play around on this way around, so certainly having some experience when it comes to that. Out of box telecom now, they head towards what is known as the dog bone, and the reason for that is that the corners look exactly like the top of a dog bone. So out of that dog bone section, they're of course going to then come in tight towards that midway straightaway, and the midway straightaway, of course, probably could be known as the M1.
The M1.
Because it's a slightly shorter road than the N1.
As you see the boys battling it out and closing in. We'll just have to see as to whether he can line it up into the next corner to be able to.
You know what he's doing here, Googs? He's literally just waiting. He's biding his time. I think Gillinson has got what it takes to get past Teddy. But now they go side by side. And, well, Teddy answers. I thought Teddy was maybe going to give him a bit of a run for his money. He is, but Gillinson's on the inside on the brakes.
No,
and sure, the old man on the mountains just said, no, you're not coming through there, bud. You're going to have to work harder than that.
As I said, he's lining it up and just checking him out as to where is he braking, and he'll eventually be able to pounce and overtake him, perhaps on the main straight as we see him lined up as we're heading out towards the end of the lap.
We're getting
not
into
quite yet, couple more corners
into the short circuit now, coming into the short circuit, the short part of the circuit now. This is where things can really change up, and especially in the 600s, expect lots of overtaking here. As you saw with Darian earlier on in this race, the ability to run wide on the corners and run around the outside of bikes.
Correct.
That's where the 600s will put that into play right here. This last corner could be some do or die moves up here, but what you're going to see on the last corner, because of it being such a wide and sweeping turn, there's not a sort of an out-braking move that can happen. What you're going to have to try and do is carry speed and get squirt on as quickly as possible and drag race to the line. So that's the idea for the 600s. Right now, the 2000s, you can see, just sitting comfortably with each other. I think, as I said, Gillinson is literally hanging on for dear life and just wants to make sure that he's within the hunt and able to get that second place. He's going to pounce later on.
He's going to pounce later on. As I said, he's lining it up, and it'll be interesting to see as to what's going to happen shortly as they get down to the bottom and cover through, heading out to what's the next section, which is the Dog's Bone, as I understand.
Indeed. Heading into the Dog's Bone section now, out of Vox Telecom. At Vox Telecom corner, probably going to see some action later on in SuperGP, because outbraking maneuvers will happen on the 1000 Evo class later on today. And here we go down into the second part of the dog's bone. And of course, as they come out of that, they head to that midway straight away. That M1, as we like to call it.
Mini M1.
Yeah, the baby one. And that little straight, listen, I can tell you still... Oh, Teddy out of the saddle there.
Speed wobble there.
Yes, indeed, up the saddle for Teddy Brook. And that's just what Justin Gillinson was waiting for. A mistake from Teddy, and Justin has snuck through. Gillinson now up to second place. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I think he might have, you know what actually happened? I think he might have just got the knee slider onto the rumble strip.
Onto the rumble strip and kind of popped him up a little bit. But that just shows, you know, if you put someone under pressure, he's bound to make a bit of a mistake. And there we witnessed it live in action right here at Redstar. Back
down into that little battle we saw earlier on. Conrad Viljoen still keeping out these riders. And Darian Kaiser still fighting out with him. Conrad, Darian Kaiser and Evert Stoffberg having a ding-dong. And they've actually closed up onto the back end of Jacques van Wijngaard. Look at that.
Look at that.
And they're closing in on Lehman. Colin Lehman, just to give you an indication for your info and for the people listening out there on live streaming, of course, Colin Lehman, one of our top riders in this country. Yes, he's in Super M, but he's also had massive experience all around the world. He was part of the Top Gear team that raced against the F1 team.
It was absolutely
fantastic. And then last year,
to see him.
went and rode the Manx Grand Prix on the Isle of Man, but so certainly got some big experience underneath that helmet.
Greg, he certainly ticked the major boxes, I see, and right now I think he's just here just to play with the boys and say, hey, what's up? And keeping them on their toes as we see the boys heading out towards the
last turn. And
last turn, there we go.
Another lap. We're going to be going into lap number 9. So basically, this one and one more to go. Penultimate lap for these guys. Lehman under pressure now from Jacques van Wijngaard. He's closed onto the back end of him. So the man from Redstar is certainly putting the pressure onto our Manx Grand Prix rider, Conrad Viljoen on the BMW, and then, of course, Darian Kaiser there on the ZX6. That little 600 Kawasaki, I think, might be the thorn in the side of these thousands. See how much time he loses down the straight. Look at that.
He does.
Just a little bit of 400cc extra power, you know.
But I'm sure he'll carry it into the braking zone.
And watch how late he brakes.
Exactly. No.
So he brakes late down into Vox Telecom corner now, and they head towards the dog bone. And Lehman are going to try and keep these guys out for one more lap. It's a lap and a half to go as they come under the dog bone there for Colin Lehman. But it's Jacques van Wijngaard on his tail is Conrad Viljoen. And Darian Kaiser looking to pounce here and looking pretty dangerous. I think Kaiser will probably wait until the last lap and try and get them through the twisties and maybe get past these 3000s. If he does that, he's going to make his way up to 4th place overall, which will be a valiant effort considering he crashed massively at Pekisa on Friday. Almost smashed his knee. Went to the doctor, got it all sorted out, got signed off, came back here today, went out and qualified down in 2nd place on a 600.
On a 600 as well. That's obsession, I say.
And is now fighting for an option of 4th place overall.
Now, certainly, I'm sure he's been lining up and just checking the boys as to what they're doing, and he'll probably pounce as we head out towards the penultimate lap. But Greg, he is running out of time as to whether he'll be able to make it work. After all these left, rights, and as well as little straights, it's not easy to really make up time if you leave it too late. Look at that. He's having to sit up all the time because he's carrying more corner speed than the thousands. So it's going to be frustrating there for Darian, no doubt about it. As he comes up, look around the outside of Conrad Viljoen. Here we go.
This is a 3rd last corner. Wait and see. Here comes Carl Robinson as he starts his final lap. He is massively a lead in front of 2nd place. 2nd place at the moment, sitting at almost 7 seconds back.
Yeah, no,
so Robinson on the Fantech Kawasaki has disappeared at the front end. 2nd place, Teddy Brook and Justin Gillinson still fighting. Look at him.
He's even looking behind you.
He looked back and said, come on, what are we doing here, guys? But to be honest with you, he didn't have it all his own way. Remember, he had a terrible start. So he's had to work a bit.
It wasn't easy for him. I mean, after all, it took him probably a good first 3-4 laps to be able to just catch up to the boys and be able to put the pressure on. But it certainly has worked out, textbook stuff, and here he is in the lead with a lead of about 7 seconds, as you mentioned, Greg. But it's good to see that he's leading the proceedings this morning in the Super M's, and we'll see as to what happens to the other guys mid-pack as well, and we'll see who'll be scrabbling for.
Well, Teddy Brook's got back ahead. So Teddy Brook going back ahead after that mistake he made when he came out of the saddle. So 2nd and 3rd still up for grabs, and of course the battle for 4th place is where we'd actually like to be. That battle for 4th place is going to be extremely close between that 600 and the thousands, a bit further back in this field. Carl Robinson's got this done and dusted, so we basically can pick up on him a bit later. But I can tell you something, this little battle's not done yet, because Justin Gillinson still looking for a way past on Teddy Brook. Teddy Brook made a slight mistake. They're now side by side.
Look at that. Look at that drag up.
And wow, what has Teddy Brook done to that ZX10? Gillinson's thinking to himself, hang on a second, I'm on the same bike here. But remember, Teddy Brook probably about 20 kilos down on Justin Gillinson. Gillinson, 6'4", but 6'4".
No,
he's a big boy.
Big boy, and certainly it does become. Look at that on the outside. He's trying out.
Do you think he's on a 600?
No, not quite this time, Baba. Come on.
Yeah, he's on a 600 there. Well, he thinks he is. He's trying to go around the outside of Teddy Brook into that corner. Now they come into 3rd last.
Few more turns. 3
to go. Greg. Carl Robinson and the checkered flag will probably be standing by. There he goes. Little straightaway up to the final corner. One last look over your shoulder. And, well, yes, he had to work for it in the start, but once he got to the front end, he's now put in probably about 8 seconds ahead of second and third place.
And he's even got fans cheering for him, man. The number one.
Number one, baby.
Number one, baby.
If he wins Super M, he can peel that number 8 off and give it to him. Pretty good. Good job there. Carl Robinson on the Fantech Kawasaki wins things out ahead of second place. Is it going to be Teddy Brooks?
It is Teddy Brooks.
Teddy Brooks comes through in second place. He has the battle for the 600s and 1000s. Colin Lehman hanging on. They have got this last turn to go. Lehman from Van Wijngaard. He's got Van Wijngaard on his tail. Darian Keizer going to try and squirt it out of there. Get the power down. It's a drag race to the end. Lehman, Van Wijngaard, and Conrad Viljoen. The thousands just the little 600. And of course, Darian Keizer, our only 600 rider here today, other than Kevin Redmond, who is a bit further back in the field. A super ride there from Keizer, considering he's still injured. But there you have it. The Fantech Kawasaki winning things out for the first race of Super M at the Mpumalanga GP. And the Super GP is in the house now, full time, as we see Carl Robinson taking the first blood of the day, and by a comfortable 7 seconds over Teddy Brook and Justin Gillinson. It's Kawasaki's 1, 2, and 3.
Fantastic, Greg. As you said, it was not easy for him. Obviously, losing a couple of places at the beginning, but managing to keep his head, put the boys under pressure, and come out tops in the first race of today here at Redstar. And we'll just have to see as to what happens perhaps later on.
Oh, riders down.
Another
riders
rider
down.
down.
They go back to that quickly. There's a rider down. Yes, indeed. On the last lap, 33 crashing out. Evert Stoffbach. So Evert must have had an incident coming up onto the back, and you can see the medical team working on him frantically there to get it all sorted out. Pity we didn't pick up on that, but yeah, definitely Evert Stoffbach. That's one of the instructors here from Redstar Raceway. And to be honest, I've actually ridden that bike. It's one of the bikes I got to use in preparation for the 24-hour last year.
Man, fantastic.
And Evert, a solid man. He's also 6'4", probably about 130 kilos. He's a big boy, so when he goes down, it's going to hurt.
It's kind of hurt, but it seems like it did kind of get up slightly, but I'm sure the medics will be attending to him and ensuring that he's in good health and he's in good hands, actually.
Well, medical team are there, and so are the Kyle Army Marshals that will come out to assist us here with this Super GP weekend. Well, it's going to be Carl Robinson is going to make his way down to the podium. I'm going to do the same thing, Googs, and go and quickly get that sorted out. And up next, of course, we're heading straight into our Super 600 first race of the day. And they'll be making their way out into the circuit now. So well done to Carl Robinson as we go through. Teddy Brook in second place. Justin Gillinson takes the third place ahead of Colin Lehman with Jacques Van Wijngaard. Mr. Redstar himself there in fifth. Conrad Viljoen on his tail on the BMW. And there was Darian Keizer, first of the 600s, ahead of Johan Otto. Ninth place is going to go to Kevin Redmond. And Evert Stoffberg, even though he's gone down, will still be classified in 10th. Unfortunately, we lost Janine Davies really early on, but I'm sure they'll get that bike sorted out. And she'll be in the hunt with Gillinson and Teddy Brook for race 2.
Now, certainly, we're looking forward to race 2. That will come up shortly as Greg makes his way down to the podium ceremony, which we'll be taking out shortly.
Watch the lights is what the instruction is. It's Gillinson, Teddy Brook, and of course Janine Davies on the front row. Both the
lights out.
Lights go out, and heading down towards turn 1 is Teddy Brook, who looks like he's got the jump. Darian Keizer with a very good start in the background. Keep an eye out for Carl Robinson, starting to make his way through from the field. Remember, both him and Darian Keizer not going out in the qualifying session with... In fact, I'm looking through there. I didn't see Justin Gillinson at all. Oh, I saw Justin Gillinson, I beg your pardon. I didn't see Carl Robinson. No, he is there. He's up to 4th place and making his way to 3rd. And looking to try and get past Bo Levy. Bo Levy didn't go out for race 1, so there's another factor to be thrown into the mix there. The KTM RC8 there now in 4th place. The 9.9 bike, our front cover man, of course, on the program, and the poster man for Super GP in Mpumalanga.
We actually saw him wheeling his bike out just ahead of the formation lap, so there was a problem, but it's good to see him back in action. As we've seen as well, Janine is back in action, having had a tumble earlier on.
And thank goodness for Lance Isaacs, because he supplied the screen that was broken and the cover for the brake cylinder.
Well,
so
we're all in
big
the same
thanks
boat,
to the thanks for the BMW team there, Black Swan Racing, helping her out to get onto the circuit, and that's exactly what she's done. And now in the hunt, kind of what we expected. If she was going to be there, there's no doubt that she was going to be able to run to the front. Oh, we're seeing Lehman. Colin Lehman looking up the inside and looking to get to the front end for the first time. Our Manx Grand Prix rider from the Isle of Man. He did an amazing job there, and of course Top Gear, along with my fellow top gear man alongside
He was
me.
quite the
Gugu.
entertainment. I think he created a bit of a buzz there with the F1 car.
Yeah,
at one
fighting
stage.
against the F1 car, dude. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Jody Scheckter who just outdid him a little bit in that F1 car.
Well, he was just giving him a bit of a chance after all, hey. Needless to say, these boys are well equipped. They know what they're doing.
Oh, Robinson looking on the
As we
inside.
can see,
He's gone through.
He's gone for it, in it.
So 18 up to second place from the back of the grid. So it's now a battle that's trying to keep out Carl Robinson's perfect run so far here today. He came out, qualified at the front end and got pole position. He's won race one. Is he going to be able to do the second one here? But tell you something, look out for 93. Teddy Brook on the Brook Refrigeration Kawasaki, and also just getting information from his wife Ellie. Teddy Brook's been a long-time sponsor of Anthony Shelley, and of course Furcor have now come on and taken that responsibility on. So still helping Anthony Shelley out in terms of support, but the main sponsor on Shelley's bike now, of course, is Furcor, and we welcome them to Super GP category, and of course the Super 600s out after the lunch break and the pit walk. Right now, though, Teddy Brook, the man what we're talking about, is leading things out ahead of Carl Robinson. The battle of the eights there for second, 18 and 48 fighting. Oh, and look at that, Carl Robinson. He outbraked himself there properly.
I'm sure he did, Greg. It looked as if it was just going to be touching wheels, but thankfully he managed to evade that, but running really out wide there.
And up the inside, new leader. New leader, Carl Robinson, just using that very fast line coming out of Vox Telecom into the log bone section, and he's taken the lead. It's now Colin Lehman who's up into third place with Justin Gillinson closing in on him. So are we going to see Lehman fighting for a potential podium here? Hopefully he can keep it up there. It'll be great to have the man who went and represented South Africa at the Manx Grand Prix on a podium in his first time out in the Super M category, because at the first round, remember, he ran in Super GP.
Yes, he ran in Super GP, but this time around he's obviously hitting the precisions here at the Super M race. And we've got someone in the pits as well.
Darian Kaiser into pit lane, so we can ask Ricky, our pit lane presenter, to head down there and find out what's gone wrong. Looks like we've got a problem there on the 89 bike. Darian Kaiser with some issues on the 600. It's one of two 600s in the race. The other one, of course, Kevin Redmond hasn't made his way out for race number 2, so he's the only 600cc rider as I can pick up on. And as I say that, Justin Gillinson putting the pressure onto the Kawasaki ahead of him. It's Kawa versus Kawa, ZX10 versus ZX10, and third place, demoting Colin Lehman down to fourth.
As we see the riders just taking a look and seeing as to what is happening on the track. Action is aplenty. There's always there's a four-way battle for further forward in the grid, but still a long way to go. It's only lap 1 that's gone through.
Right, so it looks like Ricky's down there.
Clutch, the bike doesn't want to go.
Looks like a clutch problem there on Darian Kaiser, thanks to Ricky Brest, our pit lane lady, doing a super job to get us all that information, as you heard there, just coming through at the last part. A magnificent effort there from the team to sort the clutch out. Hopefully it's all good. Darian Kaiser's still going to make his way out, but he's now right at the back, and he's going to try and close down on Jacques van Beengaard and of course Johan Otto, Conrad Verloon, 7, 8 and 9 on track. This is 1, 2 and 3 as they stand. In fact, sorry, 3, 4, second, third and fourth place, because Carl Robinson has got ahead of Teddy Brook now.
Certainly, Greg, it seems as if he has moved forward, and obviously the rest of the boys will just have to battle for honors and actually chase up and close up that gap to Kyle and ensure that he doesn't run away with it. But in terms of the gentleman who just came in with his clutch issue, I mean, there's a lot of turns in this corner, in this racetrack rather, and obviously that takes a bit of a strain, and now without one, what's going to happen?
100% good. So the other important factor to take, he's on a 600. So he's working the clutch a lot harder than the thousands. There's a lot more torque in the thousands. They can probably run third and fourth gears through some of these sections, especially the dog bowl. On a 1000cc, you can probably run in third and fourth and still get good drive out of the corners because of the torque of the bike. On a 600, you're having to rev it up into the 18,000 rev per minute bracket, and that's what's going to be causing those problems on that clutch.
Well, he's going to be having a tough day, especially his race 2 is not going to go ideal, but needless to say, let's hope he does do a bit of damage control and just rack up the points and make sure he gets home as well.
100%, that's exactly what he's going to be doing. Now, the battle is on for second place, as we saw all of race 1. Teddy Brook and Justin Gillinson fighting it out there. And I mentioned it on the podium, Teddy Brook is our oldest competitor in the Super GP series.
Senior citizen.
And he's sitting in second place in Super M. That is a valiant effort from the man. But Gillinson, I think, has got probably some aces up his sleeve now, which he'll like to pull out in an earlier stage to try and get away from Teddy Brook. But it's not always easy to do that.
It's not easy, as you said, Greg. I mean, it's only just 2 laps that have just gone through, and we still have 8 more to go. So it's still a long way to go. They'll probably settle down and be able to chase him up and actually close up that gap, and maybe do a bit of excitement towards the end and see as to whether they could pip him to the end.
Right, so second battle on the road, of course, is Janine Davies fighting it out there with Conrad Verloon. This is nice to see Janine back on the BMW S1000RR ahead of another S1000RR there of Conrad Falloon. He's from Zambezi Auto Team. So the Zambezi Motorrad team, of course, helping out Conrad Falloon. His wife Liesel is in the house too, and it's a battle there with them. 69 is Johan Otto, and here comes Jacques van Weingaart. Mr. Redstar himself fighting for top 10 honors in Super M, and he's in an epic battle here with Falloon and Otto, and he goes up the inside of Otto, gets past the KTM RC8, and now has his sights set on the two BMWs ahead of him.
I think he's one guy who's probably had the biggest smile throughout the whole weekend.
He's loved it,
looking at the action that we've got, the people that came out here, and the fact that we're live streaming actually this race as we speak. So he's certainly smiling at a great facility. A big thank you to Redstar, obviously putting up a great show, and it's good to have a good racing as well, Greg.
Yeah, of course, they're into the Discover Digital Dogbone right now, so that's the guys who've allowed us to go live streaming straight out of the circuit. And of course, we're looking to go live in the very near future on SABC's channels, one of the channels at the moment. We're finalizing that deal, and as soon as it's in the bag, we're going to be going possibly live by the time we get to the next one. I'm looking so forward to that. Live motorsport television once again in South Africa. It's been a long while, dude.
Too long, Greg. In fact, as far as I can remember, as soon as when I entered motorsports, we never really had. But prior to that, certainly followed this action on TV on a Saturday afternoon. But of course, we're making headway with the Monster SuperGP Race Championships trophy, rather, and we're making headway and showcasing that, hey, we can get back on the box and bring in some good entertainment and good action to the viewers out there. But in the interim, of course, you can catch us live streaming on www.supergp.co.za.
Yes, indeed. Right, so he's caught me out there a little bit. I was listening to Jan in the background to give me a little bit of heads up. Our director, Jan Hutzer from Rapid Motion Television, he's in the house, and of course, you cannot ask for a better man to put a production together than that man right there. Now onto the braking markers at Pirelli chicane, and into the chicane. Conrad Falloon is certainly feeling the pressure there from the RSR Kawasaki. The Redstar Raceway man is looking to show Mr. Falloon a little way around, and maybe some secret lines that Jacques found out from his own point of view. Remember that Jacques' bikes also helped out and prepared by lots of guys and assisted here, specifically this weekend by Wayne Shelley. Anthony Shelley's dad has been assisting them to get that bike set up, along with Anthony Shelley himself. And now down into Vox Telecom corner, this is where things are going to change up ever so slightly, because the Kawasaki carries much more corner speed than the BMW, and he's closed ever so slightly on the back end of Conrad Falloon. Nice little battle, as I said, it is for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th place on the road. The front end though, Carl Robertson has opened up a 5.5 second gap.
Yeah, and it's only lap number 4 as we're heading out to lap number 5. It's still early days, it's almost halfway, but whether he'll be able to maintain it all the way through, we can see that the weather conditions are also changing. It's getting a little bit nippy, the wind is picking up slightly again, and of course the sun is in hiding.
Yeah, fortunately the rain has stayed away. We did have a few drops in between the podium and coming to race 2. A little bit of rain coming down there, but I don't think it's going to be, the clouds aren't thick enough to give us a heavy downpour. I say that in hope that I'm not wrong.
Hoping.
Exactly.
And squad is certainly not around. Needless to say, at least we have good racing on the track, hot stuff.
Second place battle in the house right now as we see it in our screen, and it's Teddy Brooks still keeping Gillison out. Gillison tried everything he can to get past on him in the first race, wasn't able to do it, as you're going to see the same thing here in race number 2. Teddy Brooks trying to keep him out and look for a second place overall in the Super M category here.
Greg, what about you actually maybe racing in the series maybe next time around? I would like to challenge you to that one. A neck nomination to have Greg in the action.
Dude, unfortunately I got to talk about the racing. I can't go and do it myself. I'd love to be out there in Super M.
Well,
that's probably where I'd like to be, in fact, if I was going to race in any of the categories. It's a very competitive class, but of course it's also a bit of a fun class too. And that's, I think, where you and I would fit in perfectly.
Certainly, I think.
I know the 675 Triumph, I think, might battle with the ZX10s, but I have fought against them here on the circuit, the other way around at the 24 hour. So, got a bit of experience around this track, and looking to get some more this week, this year, because we're heading into a possibility of doing 27 for 48. I'm going to try all 48 hours of the endurance racing this year.
Fantastic, Greg. It's good.
There's a 4 hour, there's an 8 hour, and a 12 hour here at Redstar Raceway, and of course at Pakisa Freeway, where our championship comes to a culmination in October. There is a 24 hour again. So if you take 4, 8, and 12, it's 24. Plus 24 is 48.
You'll be a seasoned campaign by that time, Greg. It seems as if, I mean, we can actually maybe put a mic inside your helmet there.
Yeah, I think we must do that at once. Just going to talk some rubbish while I'm out on the bike.
But I guess for now, we just
You don't want to know what I think about in the helmet while I'm riding. Rather not. Let's not do that. Look at this though, Gillison looking around the outside and certainly looking a little bit more dangerous than what he has all race long. Tries to square off the hairpin. It's now side by side, and even though those are exactly the same ZX10s, Teddy Brooks' bike, maybe the gearing a little bit better than what we're getting out of Gillinson. And Justin Gillinson there hanging on for third place, but looking left, right, center, over the top, maybe around the outside, and definitely wanting to get up to second place and not give Teddy Brook the opportunity of the double on the day for second place.
No, certainly, Greg, you're certainly right. I'm sure he's just studying him and making sure that, okay, cool, I'm going to line you up, and probably the next lap or two, I'll be able to pounce and actually take over that position. But then again, setup is very critical in these bikes, Greg. I mean, on a circuit like this that's got lots of bends, tight corners, nice fast ones as well, and leading onto nice long straights, which is quite critical. You got to have a good ride to pull out of those corners and actually, you know, execute a good overtaking maneuver. But for now, these guys, same bike, but different setup. It just shows that it's still quite tough.
Yeah, it's still certainly very tough. Colin Lehman still hanging on for fourth place there, the 48 machine. Coming into our sights in the background, Bo Levy still in fifth. Nice recovery from Bo on the 9.9, the KTM RC8. And then the little battle that continues there between Janine Mitchell, Konrad Viljoen, Jacques van Wijngaard, Johan Otto, and check it, Darian Kaiser. He's back up there on the 600. Incoming. The Dazzler is back in the house, sorted out his clutch, and now looking to come and fight it out with the ZX10s and BMWs a little bit further up the road than what he is right now. But he's not too far off it right now. If he uses Johan Otto, maybe that KTM RC8 and the Kawasaki ZX6 can bring them into contention for this five-way battle at that time.
But it's good to see a lady leading the boys, and she's definitely determined to make up for an earlier mistake and obviously take as many points as he possibly can. Because after all, you know, the first round of our season, she did very well and was on the podium, made history.
I was going to say that. 100% good.
I mean, now she certainly wants to obviously continue with the steam and build up on that and get more points. And who knows, maybe later in the season she might be in contention for the championship.
We always talk about the monkey on your back, and some people have a circuit that has that. And of course, unfortunately, this particular circuit is Janine's monkey. And her first outing on a 600cc on the Yamaha team, she had an absolute nightmare of a start where she actually flipped the bike out on the start line.
Goodness me.
And landed on her back. So she was a bit concerned about coming back here. It hasn't been very good to her.
Yeah.
But as you can see after race one going down, she must be thinking, what am I doing wrong here? Now she started to just take that little entity out of play.
The confidence is coming in
yes,
as well.
Confidence is back into Janine Davies, and certainly looking like she's got what it takes to run ahead of the second BMW on the track, that's for sure. She's beaten out the BMWs and fighting with, of course, Mr. Redstar himself, Jacques van Wijngaard.
Well, there's nothing wrong in that, leading a pack of boys and being out there in, fighting for a battle in fifth place. But I think at the same time, Mr. Redstar himself, he's hungry for a bit of action. He's looking to get through.
And he's just done it. He's gone through on cue there, Googs. Could you want to just do this all up? Because can we just get a cue here for Johan Otto, mate?
Nice one, Mr. Johan. Well, let's see as to what Otto's going to do. But I mean, he's certainly climbing back up the field. And
Kaiser now looking to close down on the two BMs and Jacques van Wijngaard. Look at that black machine in the background. That's Dazzler Kaiser, Darian Kaiser on board and looking to close down on the two BMs. And of course, the Kawasaki there of Jacques van Wijngaard. Van Wijngaard and Janine very, very close coming out of Pirelli chicane. Now onto the monster straight. You can see Bo Levy just ahead. Wow, a big wheelie there from Van Wijngaard. Certainly getting a roll onto that accelerator as quickly as possible. He went to the locker almost. And now on the brakes. Under a bit of pressure, but no worries there. Konrad Viljoen not able to get up the inside and make this, the pass back again.
Certainly, it seems as if Janine has got it under control at this moment in time. A little bit safe at the moment as we're counting down the laps. There's 3 laps to go, and it's still plenty of action. And of course, Carl Robinson is leading by a big margin at the moment, Greg. It seems everyone else seems to be
6.5 seconds. 6.5 seconds to the leader, but the battle that we want to concentrate right now is Janine Davies, and of course looking at this epic battle between the two BMs of her and Konrad Viljoen. And in the mix, the meat in the sandwich at that point. Have we got to change up for second? It looks like we might have. Where has Teddy Brook gone? I've got Justin Gillinson in my shot right now. I do not see Teddy Brook, and that is a big concern. Has he gone somewhere? Yeah, that was Carl Robinson. So do we have a missing Kawasaki somewhere on track? It looks like we do. Justin Gillinson comes through there. Looking back to see if I can pick up on Teddy. Is that the
Probably
one?
had a bit
there
of a
it is.
speed
That's
wobble
Teddy
there.
Brook there. So he's just ahead of Colin Lehman, but he must have gone off the circuit somewhere.
Must have made a big mistake. I mean, it has cost him quite a lot of the big gap, actually. I doubt he'll be able to make up. I mean, given the fact that we've got 2 laps to go.
So we've got 2 to go. They finished 8. Here comes Gillinson across the line now. He goes 1:57.7 from first and second place. But it's 6.7 second lead that Gillinson's got to try and make on this man as he heads down the monster straight towards Vox Telecom corner. That's the gap. You can see it. That's 6.5 seconds right there. Look in the background, though. Just keep an eye out. Do we see a white bike coming out? Yes, it is. It's still Teddy Brook in third place. He's crossed the line just ahead of Colin Lehman, but Colin Lehman now is only 0.8 of a second behind Teddy Brook.
So that's
Lehman will probably be looking for an opportunity to sneak through, so we need to go back and see if we can find 3 and 4 on track. That's where the battle's going to be. Teddy Brook and fighting hard for what is third place on the podium, and Colin Lehman looking for a way through to possibly spoil his day.
Well, let's see as to whether Teddy might be having a big drama in that bike. Maybe he had an awful, maybe he's struggling with something mechanical, and hence he had to drop up. Needless to say, for Leeson, it will be obviously a great thing to be able to finish on the podium.
Third place battle in the shot right now. That is Teddy Brook fighting hard for honours for the podium. Something went wrong somewhere on the track. We'll find out what that was at the end of the race, and I'm sure that our pit lane lady will get that sorted out. Of course, Ricky Best, first time out here for her at SuperGP, and done a phenomenal job so far, but Colin Lehman is the man on the attack.
You can see he's closing up, Greg. I mean, it seems as if he is closing up, so perhaps he had a problem with his bike, but he's going to try and consolidate that and obviously fend off a very charging Leeson.
I'm a bit worried about that, because I can tell you right now, looking at the lap times, Lehman was quicker. Lehman did a 2:01 dead and a 2:07, a 2:09.7, I beg your pardon, from Teddy Brook, but of course that was when he slowed down and went off the circuit. Now can he keep Colin at bay? Colin has realized there's a possibility of his first podium in his first time out in Super M.
Oh man.
So, you know, the hunt is on.
The hunt is on, certainly a lot of action, and about 1 lap to go as the boys are doing their penultimate lap.
Well, our leader's just started his final lap. These guys, of course, still fighting for third and fourth place, and they're about 20 seconds down. So it's going to be a battle between these two for the final podium position. Gillinson has got second place wrapped up. He's 6.4 seconds off the front end of the race. And with the last lap board out, it's now up to Colin Lehman to find a way past on Teddy Brook. In the background, though, Bo Levy has been caught by Janine. Janine Davies now looks to come up and maybe steal what is going to be fifth place away from Bo. 99 and 79, fighting with a 52 machine there of Jacques van Wijngaard. ZX10, BMW, and KTM RC8. What an awesome battle there. That is a manufacturer battle of note, eh?
Certainly, and Janine is certainly one very fast lady. She's
look at the pace of the BM side by side.
She's going to take it, Greg.
Got it.
Done.
Goes past on power, past Bo Levy. And Levy comes back on the brakes. Oh, squeezing up the inside. Nearly gets through, but no.
Janine just shut that door. Like,
exactly.
Not today.
Didn't shut it, slammed it, baby. Take that, KTM. So S1000RR wins out the battle with the RC8 there. The Super Twin man, and our leading KTM on the track is Bo Levy, our poster man, of course, for this round. And on his tail now, the ZX10 also looking to pounce. Maybe he can find a way through. Jacques van Wijngaard wants to get a top 5. Can he do it? Let's wait and see what's going to happen there at the front end. But right now, of course, we're looking at this battle, which is for 6, 7, 8, and 9th place. Here comes Fuljoen. Fuljoen also looking pretty dangerous. Jacques van Wijngaard coming down into the hairpin now. This is going to be a tight little section. Watch him try and square it off to get the drive ahead of that KTM. Squares it off nicely. Comes out of the dog bone now and up that little mid straight away. This is where it's all about. Can that ZX10 find the extra power? No, he can't. We go to the leader. It's Carl Robinson who's going to make it 2 for 2 for today. And 6.5 seconds, probably going to be close to the 8-second bracket by the time he crosses the line on the Fantech Uncle Andy Racing
Look at
Kawasaki.
that untroubled run throughout the race. He's been there. He knows it. He had a good run. And he says thank you. Let's hope to see a wheelie afterwards as well as we come and bring home in second place
Justin Gillinson. Gillinson comes through for second. Kawasaki's 1 and 2. Is it going to be Teddy Brook or is it going to be Colin Lehman? Check this out as they come into the final turn now. Yeah, you can see the camera's ready to go. Lehman's right there with him. Oh, it is so close between Lehman and Brook. What's going to happen for the line now as they come up to the checkered flag? Is it going to be Colin Lehman? Teddy Brook hangs on. 0.3 of a second ahead of Colin Lehman. So Teddy Brook wins out ahead of Colin Lehman there for the third place battle, but it was extremely close. A brilliant effort from Janine Davies to come through for fifth. She's going to get up onto the top 5. That is super stuff. Bo Levy takes 6th place. Nice recovery considering he didn't finish race number 1. Jacques van Wijngaard, Mr. Redstar Raceway himself, takes 7th ahead of Conrad Fuljoen on the second BMW. Johan Otto on the second KTM. Beats out Darian Kaiser. He was a lap down, even though Kaiser was with that little battle. Remember, Darian Kaiser was in pit lane for a lap. So he lost that one, but finishes up top 600 in 10th place.
Greg, certainly it'd be quite interesting to see as to what happened to Teddy over there, because he was well in contention for a second place position, but unfortunately something must have gone wrong. But we'll hear from you as well as Ricky shortly.
Let me head down there and find out for you, Googs. You can hand over to me as soon as you get me in the picture. But congratulations once again to Carl Robinson, double on the day there for the Fantech Uncle Andy's Racing Kawasaki team, ahead of Justin Gillinson for Portable Shade Kawasaki, and Brook Refrigeration Kawasaki takes third place with Teddy Brook on board.